Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. I'm Jan42. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so that the algorithms in YouTube will keep these things up for other people to find when they come searching for Unconditional Surrender. This is a continuation of the C.U.C.U campaign, which stands for Cripple the UK and Collapse the USSR. Affectionately known as the Cuckoo campaign. We are getting ready to go into January, of 1941. 42. January of 1942. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. And that's me setting a marker on my national wills chart for the Soviets. They started at 14 this turn. Now we're setting the productions. See the little markers move over there. We are now setting the strategic warfare markers, counts. He has submarines and I had partisans, so we had to go to combat commitment, I believe. And we both committed in the USSR. So, markers. He rolled a 3+3, which became a 3. I rolled a 4+3, which became a 4. So, and his sub comes back in 2 turns. My partisans come back in 5, of course. Put those on the turn track. Now it's he's +6 to my +2. I have the Americans in the war, but I've lost the Middle East, Basra, Kuwait, and he also has his standard, French and Norwegian pluses. So he rolled a 1+6, which was a 7. I didn't bother to play a marker because I didn't think it was worth it. And then I rolled a 6+2 as an 8, so I actually got a factory back. Oh. And strategic movement. I have no idea why we're clicking on cities here. Oh, we were talking about his tank and where he could put it. So it could come like into Varna, it could come into Odessa. I said, if you captured Novorossiysk, you could actually bring an armor all the way over there, that kind of stuff. So he was kind of disenchanted with his armor's performance in the mountains of Turkey, and he's like, well, Turks are going to have to start taking care of themselves because I really need that armor to guarantee that I take out Russia next turn. So if it's a strategic movement there is none for the West. The Soviets, I went and I grabbed the guy in Granzi. I moved him into that swamp. That allows me to move out of Novorossiysk on foot to actually get to the front line. And then we're into his actions phase. He starts off with an assault here. He's trying to free. If he can force this guy to retreat, then this guy can move and get behind the river, which is what I think he's trying to do. Throws in ground support for the Yugoslavs because it is severe for him still. We're in the Russian winter. So he's 2, 3, 4, 5 halved, I believe. Oh, I told him technically we need to go to combat commitment because I wouldn't know that you're going to commit, but I figured it was worth it. And you see me, I pulled a German tank instead of a Russian tank, so I had to correct that, and then we put that over there. So he's +5 and halved, and I'm +1. He rolls a 6 + 5 is an 11, halves down to a 6. Fortunately, I rolled high enough, rolled a 7, so I didn't move. So, and then his ground support comes back in 5 turns. And that's us setting the production. Then he comes over to attack Saratov. So he's 3 for the armor, 1 for the infantry, and then -1 for the city. And I'm a 0. And I played another tanks because I really want to hang on to that city. He rolled a 4 plus 2 is halved down to a 3. I rolled a 3. So, and then I was trying to point out to him that, I don't see your Turk moving. He thought he had moved his Turks. We had a synchronization problem here, so you're going to see us bouncing around here a little bit. And then I think we had him log out, and then we finally got it back to where it was actually registering his moves, because he didn't register those moves up there. And then he just... we're already into... let's go back a little bit. He didn't do a lot else in the east with severe weather, and he's got 22 production points left, and he's like, I got a lot of stuff to do here. He's got airplanes and convoys and things for the Germans that he wants to try and get everything as close to 0 before, decent weather shows up, because he can actually do things in poor weather. So I think... yeah, now we're in the Axis supply subphase. And he supplied... what did he supply over here? Did he supply something? I'm thinking he supplied his airplane. Nope. So we went into my operations phase, and I moved Home Fleet and the convoy over there. And I think that was it for my Western ops. So now we're into Soviet ops, and then I decide to try and see if I can flip this German unit to mess up his build plans, whatever they might be, just trying for a Pyrrhic victory. Go ahead and throw my tanks on that guy. That's my last tanks marker. So he's a +1, because he thinks he's a tank. So he's +1 in poor weather. I have 2 shock armors, so that's +5 total, -1 for the weather. So I should be +4 to his +2. And I rolled a 3 + 4 is a 7. I was like, yay! And he's +2, but he's halved. So a 3 halves down to a 1.5, rounds up to a 2. And if you look in the combat results table, a 7 to a 2 is a DD. So I actually got the German unit destroyed. So even this early in the war, every once in a while, the Russians can get lucky and knock out a German army. I'm not sure what I did next. I moved this army into there. Thought about it, said, no, maybe I don't want to do that. Because I have very few production points. I had 14 and I spent 3, and if you look at my card, I have a couple people to flip over, I think. I have airplanes that are all at 0, and I also have an aircraft, 4 guys, that's 7 to build, and then the other 4, I figured I'd flip this guy up here and, flip one of these airplanes or something. So I just don't have the production points to be able to mount a proper Russian winter offensive. That's one of the things about this particular strategy. It allows the Germans to push much farther in 1941 than you would like with the Russians, because you don't want to lose too many armies. And I think maybe I didn't defend soon enough. I don't know. I don't know how to stop this. If the political game cascades the way this one did, I don't know that you can stop this. So anyway, we're in the no supply phase. Nobody removes anything. Replacements for the Axis. He does this airplane there, and his airplane outside of Tula, and his airplane up in the north. And I think that was... yeah, he didn't have any other airplanes to do. So we go into the Western replacements. That's pretty straightforward. I flip out that So my fleets are all at zeros now in the Arabian Sea, and I straighten up the home fleet. And the reason why I did that is I have on my card, I have an airplane to build, and that left me with 3 points to be able to build it. While the Americans are in the war, they still haven't brought me anything other than a useless tank marker and a fleet and a convoy that's in the Arabian Sea. So, and then the Soviets were at 11. And I'm not sure. Let's see what I did here. So I flipped over that guy, that's one. Took down this airplane, and took down this airplane. And he pointed out to me, he said, why did you do... This was a mistake, kind of a mistake on my part. This airplane up here can be countered by the Italians, so there was no point for me rebuilding this. I should have just taken the turn to strategically move it into restricted USSR at some point, and then be able to rebuild it there. I should have rebuilt this airplane down here. So, mistake on my part. Let's see. We're into mobilization. I don't think the Axis had anything. The West. The Axis. Oh yeah, the Axis had an airplane to build, so they built it in the West. And British had an airplane to build, and I built it in Plymouth, which, again, this is a mistake. I probably should have just built this thing up in, like, Glasgow or Edinburgh or something, someplace far away from his airplanes. You'll see it next turn. And then I went ahead and built one Russian army in Murmansk just because I'm seeing him start to look like he's going to maybe try and push up this road, so I wanted to have people on the roads to slow him down to getting to those cities. And then I built that guy in Saratov. I figured if he takes it, I can fly off to the Russia box and rebuild myself there. Otherwise, I'm kind of like in his way. There's no diplomacy phase. We'll go to the end of turn phase here. End of January. Basically nothing really comes in except that he gets his eliminated unit into his box. Should. I get my tanks back. This thing goes in his box. And we're basically done. And now we should be in the weather phase. And the first weather roll, the cold zone doesn't matter. It's set for February. And in the mild zone, he got a 3. And in the warm zone, he got a 6. So if you look at the card, 3 and a 6 is poor and severe. So he's safe in Basra area because I can't invade there. Because it's severe weather in that zone. So there was no declarations of war. This is the economy phase again. Nothing changed. Then we get to... Oh, he started giving some points. I think he gave one to the Italians and one to the Turks because he couldn't figure out how to spend all his points anyway. So I figured he'd let his miners move around and do stuff. The Russians are still at 14. And we're in the strategic warfare phase. And this time I don't think... Yeah, neither side in the East and Germany don't have one. And then the Allies do have an Ultra and a Partisans, but I was saving those because I thought I might need them for invasions or whatever. So it's 3 to 3. He rolls a 3 plus 3 is a 6. I roll a 2 plus 3 is a 5. So nothing happened on our factory counts in the East. And again, I saved my Ultra. So he rolled a 9. I rolled a 4. So Britain lost its factory again. And now we're in Axis strategic movement. And I was like, you had something you wanted to do. And he's like, yeah, I want to get another Finn over. He took a Finn from here, I think it was, and moved him in here just so that he has sort of a backup line to the German doesn't let me do any kind of breakouts. He doesn't want to have to deal with that while he's finishing off Russia. Strategic movement, I don't think I had one. The Soviets, that guy I thought about moving out of Akhistan and I chose not to. I went ahead and railed him up to into the swamp hex just to give me a city to possibly build it. And of course, this is where he, you just have the Italians run you up. And then I think he flies the German aircraft close to Stalingrad. And then he goes and takes care of this airplane up here. So he's +1 and halved, and I'm -4. He rolled a 3 + 1 is a 2, so he had to take 2 sorties to knock me out. But see, that was just wasted points there. Those airplanes should have been built in such a way that they could not be counter-aired so I could get ahead of him. So pay attention, Russians. Gotta be careful with your production points when you're this low. He flies that airplane up, and he's moving up around Moscow. He does this assault. He's 2 for the German, 1 for the Finn, -1 for the Forest. I don't know why he's +1. He should be +2 and halved. There we are, +2 and halved. He rolled a 4 + 2 is a 3. I rolled a 2, so I didn't retreat. And then he naval moves this guy into... we just counted the naval spaces, so I'm going to do that for you guys. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he lands, and he can't really get back out because the Italian Navy can't base in a lot of these places. So then he does a second move with the Italian convoy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and lands back here. So it took him 2 sorties to do that, to get that armored unit up there into Odessa. Okay, what are we doing next? Yes, the attack on Saratov. Again, it's +2, and I throw the tanks marker, so it's +2 to +1. He rolled a 3. I rolled a 3, halved down to a 2. I rolled a 7. So I flipped his infantry. He told me since it was that he didn't want to have the armor be the primary and possibly be in trouble. He wanted the infantry to be the one that would get in trouble. And then that was it. He was done. He's like, I'm not going to do anything else. Behind the rivers, I'm holding Stalingrad. I'm just kind of... Oh, no, he wasn't. That's right. He went over here. What did we do with the Italian? Oh, I think he went and did his supply for the Italians in the south before he realized he wasn't done with his move. That's what it was. So anyway, he flies his airplanes. He flew this airplane up to Calais. He had 1 sortie left. So he went ahead and hit Fighter Command to drive me up because Britain's so slow on production points. This is an economic war he can win. So then he flies up his 01 up to Cherbourg and just pounds on the British there. And that was it. Oh, he wanted to see what the Diplomacy Cup looked like. And it's like, no, there's no pro markers on the board for him. And then he went ahead and supplied that airplane. And he was done. The West did absolutely nothing because they're just going to spend their points to, rebuild stuff. And then the Soviets moved this infantry out and around because they're going to build something. I brought the shock army down and put him in Vologda. Then I said, well, what the heck, I got to try, right? Threw both my tanks so that this guy's a 1 because he thinks he's a tank. This guy adds 2, so that's 3. And then -1, so I'm +2 to 0. Just seeing if I can, pull something off here. Of course, I rolled a 2 plus 2 is a 4, which isn't good enough. And he rolled a 5, so. Lightning didn't strike twice. I didn't get lucky and get another German army, so. And I moved this guy down here to kind of set up a blocking position for when he blows up this army down here. Because I figured that he's probably going to do that. And I'm not sure if I did anything else. Oh, that was us reviewing that comment. I think I was done. Yeah, I was done with the Soviets. I just don't have the production points to be able to do anything to him. So we're doing replacements. He gets his airplanes all hunky-dory and his convoys. And I went ahead and reset my airplanes and the convoy in Gibraltar. Did the Russian airplanes that can't be hurt this time. And now we're into the Axis mobilization. I don't think he had anything to build. Western Allies didn't have anything to build because they didn't have points. The Soviets, or no, the Germans did have a infantry to build. There we go. And now the USSR 13th Army gets built down there. I put one in Archangel. I think that's it. Yep, we're to end of turn phase again. So he gets back his submarines and his ground support. He rolled a 1 on his subs last turn. And then I get back our tanks, and I get a Urals factory. Which moves it out to May, and then my factory count goes up by 1 on the Urals count here. So I should have gotten 1 in 2, 3, I should be up to 5. Yes, so I have 5 of those and 1 Lend-Lease, so that's 6 plus whatever I can hang on to. So I'm be at a minimum of 12 production points. Right now I'll be getting another 4, so I'll be at 16 next turn in March, I think it is. Okay, so. And the only thing left on the cards to be built is the Med Fleet, so we're getting to the point where it's time to start thinking about offensive action. And then he rolled a 5-5-6 on the weather, which is, for March, it's just terrible. 5 is severe, 6 is severe, or 5-5 is severe, and then 6 is, guess what, severe. So the Russian winter decided to spread itself across the face of the earth, and everything but desert is in severe weather. And that's where we ended. So, not a lot happened with the, a Russian offensive or whatever you want to call it. I just didn't have the production points. Him being able to push in this far, I mean, he's sitting on the Volga River in the winter of 41, and he's sitting on the Volga, basically appears the Volga River as well. So he's crossed it in the north. The only bastions I have are the restricted areas. He's going to take Moscow at some point. So even though I have 14 production will points, I mean, Moscow is 4 for Moscow, 1 for the unit defending it. So that's 5. Puts me down to 9. He gets into fair weather. That's 9. This would be 7. We assume that he's going to break through here and make it to Novorossiysk. So that would be, another 2. So I'd be down to 5. Granzi puts me down to 3. And if I lose, all I have to lose is a half a dozen armies in 3 fair weather turns. And he's got me. And if I try to just run away and get off the board, there's too many cities that he can capture that would take me out. So like I told him, I said, if I had 28 or 30 will points, I'd be tempted in 1942 just to have everybody run off the board, let him capture all the cities, except for the ones in the north, and just make him fight the battle through the forests up here to be able to collapse me by taking all my cities. And we didn't do that, then from out of these bastions in restricted USSR spaces, I would just, launch an offensive that way. I'm not sure that that's worthwhile. Sometimes I think it's better for the Russians to go ahead and collapse because they gain back all this territory. From the German perspective, sometimes I think it's not worth it to collapse the Russians. It's better to just push them off, the board as much as you can, hold them on the southern border down here, and just sit on it, and just pull back a few units to go play with the West wherever you need to, and just don't make the Russians have to push you back all those extra hexes. Don't know which way he's going to go. I have a feeling he's going to go with collapsing Russia because he has designs of getting Spain in the war and taking Gibraltar. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I'm Jan42. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so the algorithms of YouTube will keep this up for others to find when they come searching for it. And as always, stay safe and bye-bye.